Why don't you watch me do my thing? Reinvent and show the world, yeah. Choose to be more, choose to be better, choose to evolve, choose to evolve, choose to be more, choose to be better, choose to evolve, choose to evolve. Every time the world spins round, reinvent 360. Thinking you gon' miss a good thing, yeah. Show the whole world. Reinvent, nobody to know stand and strong. Be a good friend. 1, 2, 3, ready to try. Why don't you watch me do my thing?
Take it to the next level with Globe's fiber, LTE advanced, and 5G mobile connection. Now you have the power to reinvent your world. Globe.
Good evening, Philippines, and this is the ROG University Alliance Cup, returning again for the next set of matches in League of Legends Wild Rift. My name is OSX, and with me is Naisu to give you the action of today's matches.
All right, good to see you, man. Good to
Yeah.
officially meet you, OSX, and we're here to see some action.
Yes.
I believe between UST Teletigers and the USA Sage Esports teams. And I don't know if you had the chance to see these guys play already. I have not, so this will be my first time to really witness these two teams battle it out, and maybe you have some insights on these two teams.
Oh, yes, and we all have our caster predictions released during lunchtime. So I went in for USA and USA and U with UST, right? So they were having this chances during the first week. So in a mind setting of a squad team fight, the story of USA Teletigers, these two organizations are historically credited for collegiate esports dominance. Okay, so in this fall and in the middle of the pack, so UST has a disappointing debut in losing all games last week, but meanwhile USA, they managed to tie 2 matches and stays in the middle of the group at the 3rd place. So in a group stage, man, Naisu, it's not about getting the fall. It's all about getting back up. You know what I mean? In a group stage, you need to get your points in, change of composition, reset, because it's all about getting that edge in the playoffs. You know?
Yeah. And looking at the team stats too, I do want to just make notice here. Sage Esports, it looks like they're really good objectively. They have those dragons there, Baron,
Yes.
towers destroyed. I think they have that advantage. So just based off the stats alone, we can kind of already like paint this picture of these teams.
Yeah.
And we have the player matchup as well.
Ooh,
We have
yes.
it looks like Shoddy and Chloe.
Cloberly. Yeah, Cloberly. Yep.
Cloberly, right? So that'll be an interesting matchup to see those two players go. I like the player matchups because every series we've had now, the player matchups usually are turning out to be really good, lanes and fun to watch. So this will be fun to watch as well. And as we get into the draft, we can see the bans. We can see the bans already. Diana, Braum, Ziggs, and Akali. So those are, not surprised on the bans there. Those are typically the band champions out there. So we have a Camille being picked over here on the side of Sage.
Yes.
Teletigers taking that Galleon and that Garen. And, we're going to see how these two teams build these team compositions out.
Yep. Maybe taking Diana out, it's because if it's about her ultimate, it's too, the cooldown is too low, because she can totally abuse it for responses. And as well as Braum, one of the classic matchups if you go in with Kai'Sa, because you need to get that additional concussive blows passive while getting her Icathenry in a proper set coming from the back lines. But him taken out of this equation, they might need to have a follow-up. So if Gragas goes in for that answer in the side of Sage Esports, I think it's all about getting that thicker composition or thicker shield with Seraphine's Encore. But on the side of Teletigers, Tristana, still a good pick. It's all about that buster shot and her passive of getting that stacks in. But if they want to have it on a global scale, Galio and Garen, top lane response, and as well as the moment of the silence of Galio's first skill.
Yeah. And I mean, Garen's such a big pick. We've seen this we've seen a lot of Garen in
Mhm.
all competitive play, and I just think he's so valuable as far as like the silence. He
Mhm.
has a silence, he has a Demantian justice,
Mhm.
and at the same time, he's just such a front line champion with
Oh yeah.
and then you pair him with someone like Galio, and hopefully the Galio is able to build a little bit of tankiness there. It most likely will be a mid Galio, looks like, since they're locking in that Lulu. So
Mhm.
it is going to be interesting to see how those two play out together. I will say that I am in favor right now of Teletigers composition. If they can execute it well, I think they will do really well in team fights.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have to really lock down Shoddy on that Kaisa
Mhm.
because they have a Seraphine and a Jaina. So if played correctly, that Kaiser is going to be really hard to catch, and not to mention Kaiser on the Gragas has that explosive cask, to really disengage and just
Mhm.
protect the carries if he needs to.
Yeah, and I know I couldn't agree with you more with Teletiger's composition, the control, yeah, their
Hmm.
spawns, and as well as the knockups. It's on the side, and especially Lee Sin, being their jungle, has the additional and potential for steals, and as well as responses. The Sonic Wave, once it hits you, oh, you're gonna be ready for the Blind Monk's kick right in front of your face. So
Yeah.
you need to look after that. But don't not to mention Cloverly as a Lulu. Man, somebody's gonna be a giant sometime soon if ever somebody initiates it. But in the side of Sage, in the side of UST Teletigers, you also have Janna to get them scattered out to get their you have Janna and as well as Gragas. You've mentioned the explosive gas. This is two champions that can totally ruin your set.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's why we see so many Gragas bans. Actually, he can fit in so many different lanes, and he does such a good job at disengaging as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Gragas is played. It is Gragas versus a Garen matchup here, so it's gonna be an interesting lane up there. Again, we have those two support battles too, and of course our player matchup. So going to be interesting to see how things go out, and the Scuttles will be up shortly, so I'm sure we'll see the transfer to the Scuttles here to really fight for that vision to land into the early Dragon fights.
Yeah, and as they want to seize that opportunity, you need to look after the responses of Levi. Oh, an AOT, IGN right here, and as well as Hater. It's the silence, it's the amount of time that you can borrow, and if you can do it in a proper state, if you can disable a damage dealer champion in the side of Teletigers, you can totally go for it. But if this one, we have Bins taking down the Rift Herald and has full control in the river near the pit of the dragon.
Yeah, and so those Scuttles, they traded on them, obviously. That's usually the standard there. And again, we have to consider the fact that that first dragon is going to be an Infernal Drake, so that will be a highly contested Drake for both teams to take. And, for as far as jungle matchup goes, I'm going to have to give it to, the Lee Sin, Bins on this Lee Sin. I think Camille's a great jungler, but, that you have to somewhat... She's a little more squishy early game, and she does get better towards the mid game and depending on the itemization and everything. But I will say that Lee Sin still hands down one of the best, 1v1 junglers, and not to mention he has that mobility to really get in and has the potential to get those dragon steals. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Bins plays this out.
Utility and you have mobility, but Chaos, if the hook and of course the Hex, it's all about the slow, the precision strike and the hook. With a follow-up, he can be faster in terms of mobility. Too, with Chaos. In stealing, this will be actually a showdown of epic jungler champions with Bins and Chaos. And with Jury being Tristana, you need to look after who gets that explosive charge and who gets that flashing shiny spike on their heads, and to take that steal. In the previous games of today, that Tristana made some huge steals of taking the Drake. So maybe one advantage in the side of USA is getting Jury having her Tristana in this game.
Yeah. I mean, Tristana is such an interesting ADC because, she did get buffed up a little bit, but I feel like, she takes a little bit longer to really have that damage. She at least needs more so than in other ADCs. I feel like Tristana is one of those champions that just needs those items even more. And, you know, yes, she has the Buster Shot, and she has that. Okay, we got a lot of pokes here.
Oh, connected. Take it for another skill. Oh, you have a concert starting, and Lazuli takes it for the first blood, in which that is additional gold in the side of Teletigers. Speaking of which,
we weren't expecting. I don't think Levi was expecting that either. He didn't even use any, you know, any flash there. I don't think he was expecting the double cast there from Seraphine there.
And looking at Jazz, it has landed an auto. Oh, Hextech gets out, and Jury takes in for the safety, and the entrance goes in. Where a 4v3 happening, knockback up. Oh, that's what you get when you have Janna. Oh, again with Hater, following up the tornado. Oh, they're starting the action now with Infernal Dragon still on the base zone. Bins on barrel time. Ignited Health, follow up again. Another in the side with Trading Lives, this time in the pit. Oh, they're starting it now, Naizu, and taking it to the chance. Again, knocking back up. Oh, slowing silence it together. Haters still hating. Haters gonna hate, but no. You have Kaiser taking it for another way of a drunken rage. This time taking it for a 4-3, and they are starting the action in the Infernal Drake.
Hey, I said the Infernal Drake is going to be, you know, a dicey fight here, especially with that being the first Drake, and you can see it here, death after death, and, you know, it's 4-3 right now. They're still fighting for the Drake. They're going to be working for it, and here comes the Cyclones on top of that, looking for a smite on top of this Drake. They do secure it, and now it looks like they're just going to disengage out of there because there's so much damage coming out from the Seraphine as well. And is Alulu going to be able to get away? And she does just in time. But again, nice job on the Drake, and what a battle we just saw.
See, I told you it was the Sonic Wave. You need to look after that Blind Monk, because if he gets in with the feeling, you know, the vibe of heightened senses, man, he will totally go in for the steal. But for our item builds this time, prioritizing Tristan of the Blade of the Ruined King. Priority pick is still a good choice. He needs to get that action and of course continued power. But look at this for the ROG replay. Knockback up with a follow-up. Then again, an ultimate lands through, but they connected in with a tornado. Following with the encore and the passive of Seraphine. Following with the Rabins. Ignited on health. Overextending. Shoddy takes in for that auto. And that's another way of taking kills inside this game.
Yeah, and I like the way that I like the way that Dragon fight went. I mean, it was a lot of build-up, and then it just turned into a bloodbath around that Drake, and you know, death after death, and everybody was just reviving and coming back to the Dragon Drake to pretty much continue the fight on. But you know, we're gonna see how they utilize that Infernal Drake, because right now they are a little bit behind, and they're looking to get back into this game and now set up for the Rift Herald.
Oh yes, yeah, you're totally feeling the burning sensation now. Bins is throwing his Sonic Waves for safety. Smite might be ready. This time they're still praying it. Oh, it's encore time. This time somebody's gonna sing in the high notes, banging it up together. Oh, steal. Perfect. Landing it out with the ultimate, with the perfect execution of the Hex deck. Right now, it's still on the side of USA. Taking for the kill spree of Jury this time. Naisu.
Yeah, and I like that, you know, meanwhile we have the push going on here. And we can take a look at the replay here again. It was a nice setup here for the Rift Herald. They did have pretty much an even team fight going in here, but you had that disengage with the explosive cast and then all the ultimates coming down. Nice hero's entrance as well, but unfortunately they didn't have enough damage. And again, that 6% damage buff from the Infernal Drake really did help out there. Not to mention they didn't have Kaisa, you know, Shadi and the Furious was just pushing that lane, and they managed to get 2 turrets out of that too. So, you know, as far as that Dragon lane goes, you know, they already have those 2 objectives down. So now USA needs to focus on getting some turrets. You know, they're down 3 turrets here, but they are slowly closing that gold gap, and on top of that, you know, they have that 1 buff, so now they just need to start making plays happen.
Yeah. As they try to counter it in, the gold is in the side of Teletigers, 5-5, and prioritizing the items. This time, Seraphine is probably going for the additional magic damage hit, and having the second item as Leandros, he's gonna need that extra power and damaging items with the use of his high note. You know what makes Seraphine, you know, in the first blood, we've seen it. I think it's all about getting the stacks in and the utilizing of the high notes, and the auto attack is totally getting in for that damage.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Seraphine. Usually when there's an enemy Seraphine, you don't anticipate that second cast, you know. And even though you can see the bar, most players don't pay attention to that. There's another explosive cast.
You know, the advantage of Kaiser throwing in some disruptive destroying of sets. Man, it's too stubborn to see this champion back at it in the game. And if as Seraphine is totally close in their end, they can totally go in for the movement speed, additional buffed up thicker skin. Oh, they're going for the last kill. Oh, this Cloverly Oh, vulnerability is still there, but no, going for the retreat and safety. They're not overextending that Naisu.
Yeah, I like as you mentioned, it's funny seeing Gragas finally in a game. You know, he's
Yeah.
you can see clearly why he gets banned a lot. I mean, just the explosive cast alone does so much to disrupt, you know, so much, and you know, you don't want to be caught on the wrong end of that explosive cast, because if he does land it correctly, you know, he can displace a carry pretty easily, and that's, you know, what they're trying to avoid. They do drop this Rift Herald in the mid lane, and now they're going to be working for their second dragon buff. USA on their eyes for this this Cloud Drake here.
Oh, are they stealing this Kaiser? Ready to throw that cask? Ready to happen? Oh, Hynos is already taking the staff. Oh, they're pushing it out. They're zoning it out. This time, nobody's entering it properly. Oh, they're trapped in the monsoon. Hold up. That is now the knockback up. Heroes entrance going in. Oh, they're going to be knocked up, connecting with the follow-up. Focusing on the point that the Drake is not going to be the perfect target. This time scattering around, being in top in the Hextech ultimatum. That time around, you see Teletigers seeing that momentum and opportunity. They're saying, this is our chance to get back up for the chase. Shoddy, not overextending it. Perfect timing, and they're taking this Drake for themselves.
Yeah, I like that 3-man encore right there. We're gonna see it right here. You know, this encore was perfect. It hit 3 targets, and it really set up Shoddy to take that damage and just put it out there. Not to mention, you know, we have that displacement with the monsoon there. There's just Teletigers are literally the team of displacers right here. Displacement, disengage, and they use it so well. They combo those ultimates so well between the explosive cast, the monsoon, the Hextech ultimatum, and again, Shoddy is just able to put out that damage based off where they're being placed, you know. So it's such a good composition and combination of ultimates being used here.
Yep. We have shared the story of UST Teletigers of their first debut in week 1, but now we're seeing a different kind of composition, and again, they're making up for the mistakes of their lost points. You know, in the group stages, they can still climb back up because it's not yet over. As USA Sage sees this opportunity to hold their places, you know, it's not about again. It's when you get your points in, you still need to hold it through and maintain that, you know, power, the control. If they can have this in a perfect mindset, this might be a tiebreaker game that I'm seeing and expecting. What do you think of the items right now, Nice?
Yeah, I think as far as like itemization goes, you know, it's more so. Obviously, USD has that advantage. I mean, they have the gold advantage here, so they have, you know, some of their carries have 2 items complete now. You know, you have Janna with Ardent Sensor, so she's buffing that Kais up with the shields. There's another explosive cast going into Encore as well. And now they're going to be starting here, looking to get this turret down. I think they're just going to back off and get this turret right there, OSX. But as I was saying, they have that item advantage. And I think right now, USA Sage Esports literally is just trying to handle this momentum. They know UST Teletigers has this, so all they can do is pretty much defend the best they can while farming. Again, you know, we have Garen down here pushing that lane, kind of farming it up, because later on, transitioning into mid to late game, into late game, we're already mid game, but transitioning over there, you know, Garen's going to be that kind of front line that they're going to rely on. And so he's doing a good job pushing that lane out, farming up the best he can. But again, Sage Esports has to really put the brakes on these Teletigers right now and get the itemization kind of matched up here.
Oh, this time, as we mentioned, as we enter the mid game, this is going to be a challenge if they can still hold this. You know, the scaled up damage, the utilization of Shoddy being Kaiser is her, again, stacked up attack damage, and as well as the killer instincts is picking enough phase to throw out some Acacian Rain. And Jury having the addition of the Buster Shot and as well as the explosive moment, you know, prioritizing the static Shiv, I think this is going to be an essential to get her rapid fire once either Firiz or Lazuli enters. Because if they get thicker by the moment with Lazuli's Encore, you might have Hater putting up some spins and as well as silences as they try to take it for a perfect set. But no, there's 2 annoying champions destroyers, and as we see this, they're trying to destroy this tower in the mid lane. Ultimatum hop in, and this, where did Gal you go? But he was totally out of the map this time, but he sees this UST Teletigers. Where did that Hero's entrance come from? Levi on the last hit, Vince hitting on alone with the auto attack, and the ignited help, still rushing this sacrifice, and then again, no, he's still in for the safety.
OSX, I'm definitely gonna say I think that was a misclick by Levi there. No, I think he accidentally, you know, maybe his finger slipped or something, but he definitely went the wrong way, and Yeah, I was gonna mention too. The thing about Shoddy here is Shoddy's covered by Seraphine and Jaina. You know, has those two technically supporty champions really helping out. You can see the Galio flying off there to the other side, and that didn't help. We got that double kill for the Seraphine, the kicks, and just unfortunately they didn't have enough damage. The thing too about the Gragas here, Gragas building pretty much tank Gragas.
Yeah.
You know, paired with his ability, he's such a tanky frontliner. And again, I like the way he's playing it because he's pretty much starting fights, right? Kaiser goes in there, throws the explosive cast, body slams into people with his buff, super tanky, and just is forcing fights and not letting Sage Esports right now kind of slow things down. And here you go, you have them securing that Mountain Drake on top of that. But Sage Esports isn't out of this. I think if they can get the right team fight set up for them and get a pick off, especially if they can get Shoddy down, I think they'll have a chance at coming back from this. But they really do have to contest this Baron coming up as well, most likely.
You've mentioned Shoddy, and what makes Shoddy an essential ADC is because he can totally hit it out in the backline. And look at this too. Oh, he's totally doing the entrance. Oh, that's a burn for the ultimate of chaos right there. Maybe he's doing for the escape, but no follow-up this time as Bins takes this way, just clearing it out. But no, they're trying to take vision in the Baron as we are trying to witness one more take. Again, Elder might be showing anytime soon, and they need to get this essentials, and as well as it's all powering up. Oh, they're frozen in time, knocking back up. Oh, Shoddy and Jury this time in the open, and the TPs follow through. Levi goes in for the retreat, and that is a hater absorbing so much damage. 3 versus 1. I think it's going to be one head. An isolated damage pouring through Teletigers, hearing them roar 17-7.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was a huge face check. I don't think they had any vision in that bush, and the entire team of Teletigers was pretty much just waiting in here. And I think, this is pretty safe to say. I think they're going to go ahead and end this game, OSX. They're going to take game 1. Teletigers going to be taking game 1 for this series as they work on the Nexus here. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the game. Teletigers taking that game 1 away from Sage Esports. And, pretty dominant showing. And interesting team composition as well. We had like Janna, Seraphine, and protecting that Kaiser really well. And again, this is why Gragas is banned. He's just such a tanky bullet.
I know.
And he has. I mean, look at his items. He's got Sunfire and he's got Spirit Visage. Right, he's got Bramble Vest and a Chain Vest there, and he's just paired with that second ability of his where he gets a little more tanky, and then relying on that explosive cast. Like he's just so hard to handle as a frontliner, and again, Shoddy performing on that Kaisa. Not to mention getting that Ardent Sensor buff from Janna plus the shield and the attack damage. I think that's really devastating combo. So well played to Teletigers taking that game 1.
Oh, I believe in that, Naisu. And we've mentioned, why is Gragas and Janna existing in a match that is two annoying champions to totally disrupt your set? I mean, Tornado plus a drunken guy on the side and just throwing on the cap, knocking back out. As you mentioned, if you get into that wall, he can totally. Camille can totally get you in a trap with his ultimatum, and that seized an opportunity to ban Gragas on the next game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're gonna see a Gragas ban. I'm betting that we see a Gragas ban. I mean, but what a chaotic thing to deal with. Tornadoes, musical notes. Barrels full of beer being thrown at you. It's just chaos really for Sage Esports there. So I think they're going to have to go back to that drawing board and really decide on what kind of team composition they want to go with. But who knows? Like Teletigers went with this team comp. Maybe they have something up, their sleeves for game number 2 here. But overall, I think Sage Esports just has to find a better composition, something that maybe even go back to comfort picks, but I definitely wouldn't leave a Gragas open, and hopefully they have some type of composition that they can work with here.
Yeah, and you don't need that extra champion to put you through the wall, because if that hits you, it's endgame. And looking at the fact that they have total control, you know what? UST Tigers is totally getting back up from the fall from last week. And as of this time, in group stages, in this kind of situation, everybody still has a chance to rise back up. But then again, this has made possible by our partners and sponsors in the UAC Season 2. Won't be a thing with our partners in Globe Telecom, our official telco sponsor, ASUS ROG Phone 5, Logitech G, Riot Games, and Twitch Student, our platform partner.
Yeah, and I also I've seen this question come up a couple times before in the past. So, if you guys are interested in AcadArena at your own school, if you want to bring esports to your college, I wish I had this when I was in college, man. I mean, this is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
Different times here, but the AcadArena Alliance program is here for you guys. Alliance member clubs get access to exclusive tournaments, mentorship, even support, and of course, the Globe Esports Merit Scholarship. Learn how to join the Alliance today at acadarena.com/alliance.
Yeah.
I think it's
And
awesome, man.
yeah, I think it
you
is.
know,
You've mentioned if this was in the chance of having this in your curriculum in your school,
yeah,
man, you need in all of the requirements like a thesis and all of those videos to go in. You have this exercises outside school, but in the age of technology, you need to get that reset. It's not being in the stress because being a student has it all has challenges. If you're a scholar, it's a double actually it's a double wombo combo challenge to making it work. So if you
yeah.
have this kind of platform such AcadArena does in students, you can get to have that school and play balance because with the hashtag, it's not just play.
Yeah, and I think too. It's so I coming from a teacher's perspective because I used to
Yeah.
teach myself, and I think that
Wow, nice.
I think this is a really good opportunity. What AcadArena program is and what it's doing, and there's a lot of opportunities for it to grow in the future, especially with other games and just even Wild Rift. Wild Rift
Oh,
is
yeah.
still technically a new game. It's technically not even officially out, right? So it is going to be interesting to see where things go in the future for this, but we are going to go ahead and get into the draft. And as I predicted, OSX,
Yeah.
look who's banned.
He's out. He's totally out now. So no,
Yeah.
we don't want the drunken rage passive and as well as the body slam knockup. No. Yeah, totally having it on a respec ban. So and Akali as well. Yeah, Akali is also stubborn as it is because her mobility and utility and with the use of her perfect execution totally deals enough of damage. And for the side of Teletigers, Ziggs, yep, I have seen a lot of micro plays and as well as sidesteps and that satchel charge is if you need
Yeah.
an escape button, man, throw it away.
Yeah. I think even in the first couple series of earlier today, we saw a lot of
Yeah.
Ziggs
Oh, yeah.
from Ting, I believe, and Ziggs is just one of those champions that there's so much utility in one champion. I mean, not only does he destroy turrets like crazy, but he's good at displacing also with his satchel charge. He's good at slowing.
Yeah.
We saw it multiple times, Ziggs' minefield, really slowing people down so they can't get those hits or they can't land those kill shots. And, of course, Akali is Akali and she just will weave in and out, perfect execute people if you give her a
Oh, yeah.
chance to. So these bans, I'm not surprised. And once these picks start happening, we're going to start to see these unfolding of team compositions, what we go through. I really do think also, again, it's gonna. I will say this when we talked about jungle matchups
Yeah.
last game, which was Bins
Oh, yeah.
and the jungle for
Lee Sin.
Teletigers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bins on Lee Sin, right? And it's gonna come down to that jungle matchup. Because again, especially let's say we have another early Infernal. We saw that team fight break out for that early Infernal Drake,
Yeah.
right? And how many deaths piled up there, but what we didn't take notice is who those deaths and those kills went to. And I think, because it was such a messy fight there, it really allowed the gold to go into Shoddy and get those items faster,
Yes.
faster than Jury, I believe, which is the ADC. So they're gonna have to kind of smooth that out this time. I think Sage Esports needs to pick a really good jungler that they're confident in and try to land those objectives because we saw it from the stats before too. They need to get more of those dragons, those Rift Heralds, and to really focus on objective play here.
Oh yes, going back at again, but USA is totally getting Garen in the first one. Hater, and on the side Diana. She's one of the nerfed champions right now in Wild Rift. And Galio going back in the game for Teletigers, I think they would probably say, "Oh, let's use the epic hero entrance to support my squad." You know, in every cinematic movie, it's all about that hero landing. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, the
Except the one
response.
from the last game.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was totally surprised.
That
Already,
was surprising. Hey,
yeah,
I've done that too, Bo.
yeah.
I've played Galio a couple times, and I've done that too, and I'm just like,
Yes.
oh, son of a gun. Here we
Mm-hmm.
go, like going to the wrong place,
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll see it utilized over here by Teletigers. But I like these picks also from Sage. I
Oh
like
yeah.
Braum.
Mm-hmm.
Also Ori. I'm a huge Oriana fan.
Oh yes.
Especially a well played Shockwave. Really good micro on Oriana can really shine, especially in those objective fights. So I like this pick by Sage Esports. I mean, it's a mix of poke here. They have that Ezreal as well. They have the protection this time on Braum. So if the Oriana is played really, really well here and that micro is on point, I think they'll be able to secure these objectives and really kind of get themselves into the game this time for game number 2.
Yep.
Whereas on the other side, Teletigers, they do lock in really good champions as well. They do have a good draft as well. And I think the one thing I like about Fiora, no matter what your team is doing, is a win condition in herself. She can push those
Yes.
lanes. She can put pressure around the map. She doesn't necessarily need to be in every team fight because she can 1 versus 3 and buy time. She might not.
Yes.
She might not survive,
Yeah.
but she can buy time. Riposte is such a strong ability on top of that. And then you
Oh yeah.
throw in here, assault and battery from Vi, the Moonfall from Diana. Not to mention here a correctly used hero's entrance. There's a
Oh yeah.
devastating combo from
Mhm.
Teletigers here. So both drafts are nice. Sage Esports, though, I think they're going to rely on getting to that mid to late game because they have
Mhm.
champions like Ezreal and Oriana.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to really depend on that execution of their composition because, like I said, it is a scaling composition. So we're going to see how they play that out.
Yes, and you've mentioned, it's not easy having play Gal, hands down to these players on making it work. It may be a misstep because it's you play it in a different setting, It's all about being composed. And one of the squads are doing it now in USA and UST is totally in a different state of the game, They're in a group stage, so maybe they're all about getting that reset and the compositions and the perfect response from one another. But hey, we still have a chance. Let's make it through. And making this game possible is the reigning king of mobile smartphones. This is the ROG Phone 5 with Qualcomm Snapdragon 888, 144Hz AMOLED display, and a massive 6000 mAh battery. Take your gaming experience to the next level with a hashtag for those who dare with League of Legends Wild Rift. Available in your nearest ASUS and ROG credit stores nationwide. Hop onto rog.acadarena.com to check it out.
Man, I need a ROG phone, man.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
tell you what. I always
Yeah.
see those. They are really nice phones. I've seen other people use them, and a great sponsor. And again, so I want to go back into the game here. We got the breakdown. We saw that Fiora and Garen matchup, and I think as a Garen player, it's really hard to start out versus a Fiora, but I think overall, with the right itemization, it gets easier, and you can see them focusing on the scuttle here.
Yep, taking the vision and control, it's them, and it's the follow-up again. Oh, with the flash in! Oh, they're with the knockup ignited down! Oh, UST takes the first blood and score, but the early invade is too risky, but that was the trade for that buff.
Man, that was a trade, and now you have double buff. I think that's a double buff Diana.
Yes.
Right there. Then this is not something you want to do early game on Bins right here. Losing that double buff, losing the scuttle, and giving a double buff to your mid as well. You can see, the flash was he misflashed obviously. I think he was trying to flash over the wall, so misclick, misplay there, and unfortunately he's going to be behind now on his jungling, and like I said, he gave up that double buff, so or he's gonna have to work against that just for a little bit longer. But I think she'll generally be okay because Diana, really can't go in on her yet. She is close to 5, so we'll have to see how well Levi. There you go. There's the initiation. Again, knows she has that buff, right? So she has that damage, the slow, the mana, and we're gonna have to see how they transition into this first Drake. It is a Mountain Drake, OSX, so you know, and there's the grand challenge coming out.
Yeah,
Kaiser working on this. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, follow up with the opportunity. Taking it? No. That's it for the
Flashes out.
reset.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Lazuli, as you mentioned, he has the edge. He can have the confidence totally if he wants to initiate. He has the mana, and he still has burning damage that he can give on the other side. But if in this series of games of Hater being Garen, and as well as Kaiser, I have seen a play, you know, their post is really effective in terms of deflecting. No matter if you release it to National Justice right in front of her, you can totally deflect it.
Yeah,
So he
I
can
think I
totally-
saw that. Yeah, I saw that from the other game, the other series, right? Just the like perfectly timed riposte, canceling out that Demacian Justice, and I think that's what I'm saying about Fiora. She's such a good champion, and played well in the right hands can just really turn the tides of an entire game. Because one thing about Baron laners is they constantly have to weigh, do I stay in this lane and push this lane, or you know, whether it's Baron lane, Dragon lane, whatever lane, or do I go join my team, you know, and help with those team fights and everything.
Oh, okay. Speaking of which, James was trying to steal that, but no, he backs up with a punch. It has metal knuckles, by the way, so he's totally not going to take that risk of doing that fall again. So 1-0, UST Teletigers has to prioritize the way of taking the objective buffs. As of this time, Chaos has set up some wards. You need to get the vision in. Rivers are the ones who needs vision, especially you have the bottom in control. With the items right now, Naizu, you're seeing it, and the possibility of chances might happen soon.
Yeah, and I you know, itemization wise, we have a couple items here. Diana's got the Roa, Oriana's got that Ludens now, but realistically, you know, pretty standard across the board. We do have a little bit of tankiness, of course, from the Galio with that Bramble, but generally this Drake fight here is gonna just turn into a lot of poking again. Like I said, there is a poke comp here, and you can see Braum getting pretty low here. They're gonna go ahead and initiate though now, it looks like.
Oh, Chaos and Hater trying to sneak in. Heat up. Oh, Braum is on low health. Braum can make the one auto connected with the Holland battery. He has started with the dash. Oh, that is the entrance going for the knockup. Perfectly weighted in the set, but no, nobody's jumping into the trampoline set, but no. Let's do it takes for the hit. Auto connects in. Airborne patches in for safety. It's still gonna be trick. And one more member this time is still in trouble. Take it for another follow-up 3-2. And that was play again. Follow-up initial. Oh! That was one hit. Will it connect for the Ignite? No! He's still alive, Naizu.
There we go. Hey, this is exactly what Sage Esports needed. I mean, they needed to win a team fight here, and even though Dragon's, you know, still up, what a play here too. Especially it was a nice shockwave here on the Diana, so they had that. They did have that true shot barrage, and just a nice play by Benz here, coming back in, you know, grabbing that kill, and then working his way to Galio here and grabbing that one as well. Barely surviving though. But it looks like I'm going to go ahead and start this Drake. Once again, we're back OSX to another Drake fight.
Yeah, it was fierce. I'm not wrong. Right now they're jumping in, and with the nobody's stealing it. Yeah, it's a long point. Now the damage is positioning. Now release the back and just fall up at the first. No, they're trying to retreat back in. Not overextending because they were going to seize the opportunity. Probably in the Rift Herald. So there was no point of doing that sacrifice, which is a good move for now. Nice. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was good that, you know, Teletigers grabbed that Mountain Drake, but now we can see the rotations going up to Rift Herald. You know, there's going to be some focus on that because Sage Esports does want that. Mountain Drake's not, I mean, value-wise, Drake-wise, you know, a little bit of shield, it helps, but it's, you know, Rift Herald, in my opinion, is better here. It looks like there's initiation coming out here from the Fiora, looking for an under-turret initiation. There's 4 members here for Teletigers. There's the Moonfall coming down. Gonna take him down.
3 members in. Oh, thanks for the auto. Again with the range. Caught today.
There you go.
Damage is supposed to with that rain damage. 5-4. Nice too. You really didn't care about the tower.
Yeah. They don't. I mean, they knew they had the advantage there. They had 4 members, you know, versus a low Ezreal. You know, that's a pretty easy trade there. But again, you know, Sage does have the Rift Herald, which they'll most likely save. If we take a look, we have an Infernal Drake coming up. So most likely, you know, Rift Herald will be played before that Dragon comes up. And, you know, that's going to be a decision for Teletigers to make. You know, do they play against that Rift Herald? Do they, you know, are they coming late to this Infernal Drake when it comes up in a bit? But now also itemization-wise across the board, everybody's pretty much got that first item at this point. Ezreal's going to start building that Manamune, and I think that's going to be really important, especially coming into this Infernal Drake. And here we go, we have another...
Connect with the auto? No. He's still strong. the Masha. Come on. Oh, again with the bottom lane action. He's in. Also with the 2 shots, but that would have knocked up down for safety. Kingston focusing on Shoddy taking in the shot in the chance of Shuri. Takes him to the kill. 2v1, knocking back up. Dash. Oh, going into the lane. That is the killer instinct, taking it through the safety of that gank.
Yeah, I will say Teletigers are really good at locking people down, you know, finding potential ganks and really executing on them. Whether that's in the jungle, whether that's in the lanes, there's constant action going on. I think Teletigers communicate really well on, you know, where they're trying to make a play, basically. As I was saying though too, when it comes to that itemization, I think, you know, as I said, Sage Esports does have that scaling composition with this Ezreal. So as he starts to build that meta unit, I think we'll see some more power, team fight power coming out from Sage Esports. And again, it's going to be just in time for this Infernal Drake too.
Yep, Jury, he needs to have that extra mana, and again, the cooldown needs to reset faster because he is a split-on frenzy with the mana, so he needs a lot of mana to deal with. You know, he needs to release those skills properly, and to land it with the perfect setup, he needs that extra mana on the side of the mention. And as they try to utilize his skills, global response can happen as well as follow-up, but they are now being in control of the destruction of turrets as no exchange in the side of US Tigers. Oh, again with a block, and again with that shield, they're still making it through slowly. You know, Bins is trying to connect it with the probability, but they now have the Rift Herald, and for this chance, they might destroy some towers this time. And for the items on this stage, Naisu, it's gonna get far, but if you're gonna get into the state of a late game situation, you need to look after the core of Shoddy, because probably right now she has prioritized the Blade of the Ruin King, maybe the Mortal Miner up next. So she might go for the IE instead, but it's more of an advantage if you prioritize the attack speed and as well as the burst for Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I think, you know, Shoddy's doing pretty good. Obviously on this Kai'Sa, has 4-101, has that first item and a couple as well. And I think it really shines, especially in team fights. She's protected, like, Shoddy's protected pretty well. So we'll see if they grab this Infernal Drake. Sage Esports can't give them this Infernal Drake, as, you know, Teletigers are starting to pretty much scale here really well as well. There's going to be a reset there. And they have to pretty much stop this. There's the Rift Herald drop at the bottom lane.
Oh, with this diversion, will they make it through the Infernal? This is one of the best dragons, you know. You need this. You need that extra damage and as well as that to go in. As they start this fight, they might try to seize and hold one member out of US Tigers. Need to look after that chaos. Yes, might, so they might contest this. But US, it's Bins and Chaos going to the battle. If they ignited this, he's low on health, a bit of a stack, and he will be out of the map. Totally be careful. Total taken care of caution, and this time around they need to secure this properly, but nobody's engaging this time, night. So I think they're trying to weigh the possibility if they do this now with their low HP on.
I like what they did here. Here we have an initiation.
Oh, this time around exchanging trades. Shot goes in, may not make it to the damage. It's going to the dash, and the opportunity is not going to make it through. That's probably 4v1. Entering now in the turret, probably the battle goes and knock him out with the shockwave. There goes the heroes and planning it out. Let's get it on, Sage Esports. One way or another, we're taking Jury down, as we don't care with the red buff. String it with the fear is still burning it out, but the Grand Champ has been up and taking it slowly. Kai'Sa saying, my sword is so shiny, I will take it to 95.
As I was saying, pretty much Teletigers right here, you know, they danced around this objective, you know, pretty well. Nice job surviving there too. You have a nice hero's entrance there from Galio, and this is a nice taunt as well. I think that was a 3-man taunt, you know, and just everybody getting chunked low. Again, Fiora coming down just in time, Kai'Sa helping the team out there, and so they end up securing that Infernal Drake. And again, you have to consider Teletigers right now with that damage buff, you know, Kai'Sa sitting on an IE as well, and a Blade of the Ruin King. You know, that's gonna hurt. They have to figure out a way to get this Kai'Sa, but at the same time, they have so much to worry about, and it's so hard to get around Fierce's Galio, because Galio's doing such a good job at being that front line, landing those taunts, landing the entrance, right? And it's so hard to catch this Kai'Sa just pumping out the damage. So there's gonna be they need some miracle play from Sage Esports, whether it's Lee Sin, you know, bins on the Lee Sin coming in with a kick from the back or something, but they really do have to shut down Kai'Sa here, or even that Diana, and to win some team fights, because all the while you have Kaiser here pushing this lane. Kaiser also sitting really, really well and has 11,000 gold, mind you. 11,000 gold, comparing to the gold on everyone on Sage Esports, you know, can easily 1v1 this Garen.
Oh yeah,
doesn't even know this is waiting for him.
Oh, again, challenge goes in, not going to make it through, knock up, and then again, that is for the Slay. He's still doing it, Kaiser. As you mentioned, they went for that burst tower, and no, again, 2 vs 1. Frozen in time, Bins going for the escape. Sonic Wave didn't connect to nothing. Again, isolated damage poster, but no, they're not defending it. Lazuli followed up with the entrance. Now again, P versus P with the execution of the OT. Hero's entrance going in. Okay, one more time, and still gonna make it through the 11-5.
You see, even with the lead that Teletigers have, like, they have the damage. Sage Esports has the damage there. That True Shot Barrage and, you know, the charged up Manamune at this point, it put out the damage, and they had to retreat from there. So, you know, as the game progresses, you're gonna see the chance for Sage to really have this opportunity to win some T fights. It's just going to be a matter of, can they do it quick enough? Can they get these kills that they need? Because, you know, relying solely on the Ezreal isn't going to win this game for Sage Esports. Right. They really need some good setup, and I see Orianna picking up that death cap, and you know, that's really going to help that damage, because a well played Shockwave, it can turn the tide of a game.
Correct, and you mentioned Drury in a possible miracle play. You know, being an Ezreal, need to get that additional gap away. You know, you can make more aggressive movements in utilizing your auto once you're far enough. And the only way to disable one of the damage dealers, such as Kaiser, Chaos, Levi might be the answer, and Braum, but Drury needs to have that perfect view farther so you can utilize it. Now being kicked back, Lazuli going for V1. Oh, still engaging it though, overextending the visit. Oh, you have now the kill, Jury. And as you waiting to see the kryptonite of USA's ADC is Kaiser, but taking that Baron Nashor. Oh, is Chaos is saying we have now the hand, and let's take it for the destruction.
You know, Lazuli did get caught out there, but it allowed them to secure that Baron, you know, so technically not a bad trade there. They did, you know, UST Teletigers did secure the Baron. Now they have that play potential for them. They're going to be knocking on those tier 3 turrets, and then you have another Drake coming up in about 10 seconds. So really, Sage Esports, with their backs against the wall right now, they're going to have to defend their base, and at the same time, try not to give up another Drake, because a team with 3 dragons can turn into a disaster. And you know, if it's already a momentum type of game, it's going to be hard to come back from that. And here you can see them starting this Drake.
Oh, starting it now. They're trying to collect Infinity Stones of League of Legends, but yes, as you've mentioned, that was a worth sacrificing with your life. That was a perfect risk, actually, of taking the Baron and sacrificing the there. But it's a diversion play in the side of Teletigers to get that additional buff, and as well as Drake. So with the Elder showing up soon, they might see this. But now, killing spree goes in for Kaiser as he goes in for that mad damage first. Naisu.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You know, Kaiser this whole time has just been in his own lane, doing his own thing, going 1v1, and look at the end of here once again, OSX.
Ending it now with a hero's entrance, probably taking some damage while spamming it out. No, the minion has taken again the wave, and saying, hearing this roar, UST Teletigers has risen back up for the fall of week 1.
Yeah, I mean, what a showing, you know. They went 2-0. Teletigers coming in hot, basically, and well played. I was just mentioning too that Fiora, you know, herself as a champion is just such a threat. You know, they had to babysit Fiora every step of the game, and just to be able to push those lanes is really beneficial for the team as a whole. And I think Kaiser that was playing that Fiora performed very, very well. So also to Shoddy on the Kai'Sa, just both games, you know, Shoddy showing up and playing really well in the ADC role. So give it up to Teletigers. And again, GGWP to Sage Esports. Hopefully they can come back and get some wins in the next series.
Yep, it's still not over for you guys because in the group stages you need to get your points in. But for this time around, UST Teletigers is saying we're not gonna give you up, we're not gonna let you down because we're gonna turn around like we roar together. So that was one heck of a play. And as we see this, Naisu, they're trying to get back up, and it's not about taking the fall seriously. It's about getting back up. And it's still a good game well played from Sage Esports. They might have some miscalculations of having a Kaiser counter. You know, the burst potential of a late game coming in from Fiora is too high, and the only way to counter it is a good gameplay. Ezreal has an edge. I think for this one, for our caster predictions, I'm gonna lose this point for this game.
Yeah, well, I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up for a break, OSX. So we will be back, guys. Don't worry, we have one more series, I believe, to get through. Yeah, one more series for the day, and we will be back after a short break.
Why don't you watch me do my thing? Reinvent and show the world, yeah. Just to be more, just to be better, just to evolve, just to be more, just to be better, just to evolve, just to evolve. Every time the world spins round, reinvent 360. Thinking you gon' miss a good thing, yeah. Show the whole world, reinvent. Nobody to know stand is sure. Why don't you watch me do my thing?
Take it to the next level with Globe's fiber, LTE advanced, and 5G mobile connection. Now you have the power to reinvent your world. Globe.